Nice. Okay, guys, today it's really important topic, arrays. Who knows about arrays? Nice, nice. Okay, so that's okay. Now we will dive into it. So array basically it is a collection, and to begin with, I want to explain why collections are important. Why do we need the collections? Collections in programming help us to store and manipulate data. And without collections, different tasks such as search or filter or sort, they will not be possible. Yes, there are different collections which have dynamic size, so you can add elements whatever you want. And today we will speak about the arrays and what is array. Array, it's like a box with data of the same type. So in array, you can add multiple elements of the same type. For example, array of integers, it will be 5 numbers. Array of strings, it will be different amount of strings. For example, 5 words. It is an array. So yes, this was the introduction. So the idea of arrays is if you have, for example, 100 integers, it would be very hard to process every integer and declare a variable for the every integer. So you would need to make 100 variables. So with arrays, you can skip this, you can add them together. So let's dive into the syntax. How to declare an array. So you write the type of data, this brackets, square brackets, and the name of array. So this is the declaration of array. At this point, no memory is freed for this array. We just declared it, but we didn't create it. But to create an array, we need to write like this. So the keyword new is to free memory for this array, and here we are writing the size of array. For example, 5 elements. So in Java, arrays have the strict size, so it is not dynamic. So this array has only 5 elements. We also, so now we created our array, and if we print it, it will print in the console something like this. 5 nulls. Why 5 nulls? Because we created this box for 5 elements, but we didn't assign these elements to this array. So basically, what is null? Null is nothing, is emptiness. It's like a placeholder which says to us that there is no value assigned.
Just shades.
Yeah. So it's like a placeholder. It's emptiness. It's nothing. So, but you need to be very careful with nulls, because sometimes where you are trying to use null, for example, now I will try to access the first element of this array, and it is null, so we will get an exception, the null pointer exception. So it is very, very important to be safe with types and to be sure that your values are set. So you need to set values to the array. This is like one way to create an array. Here we created an empty array for 5 elements. You also can do it and add elements during the creation process. So we create an array of integers like this. And here we are adding the elements. And we have our array now, and it had 6 elements from 1 to 6. And you can't add new elements because it has the size like only 6 elements. But you can access. So for example, you want to get access to the first element. How you can do it? It's pretty easy. You write the name of your variable, and in these square brackets, you write the index. So the index of the first element is 0, because in programming, indexes, they are starting from 0. And we can write it, for example, in the variable. So I can write like int a equals array 0, and array 0 is 1. So basically, it's the same as int a. So do you have questions on this point? Yeah.
Can we put array in array? I see the first line that in brackets, and inside the brackets we have nothing.
Yes, it's just the syntax.
Just syntax.
Yeah, it's just a syntax, so it's like the type of data. So we have this type of data int. This is basically means that we have type of data int array. Yeah. Okay. What? It's the name of the variable. So I just created another variable. So it can be any word, it's the name. So this is a type of data, like with int a, this is type of data, this is name. Here is data type, and here's the name, and here it is like the also special syntax to create a new object, to create array, and to give some memory for our future numbers. Also, we can make array of strings, for example. Another example. So we have string, square brackets, for example, names, new. This is a very important keyword, don't forget it. String. And here is the size of our array, for example, like 10. Or another option is to write like in the curly braces, we are writing the names. Like this. Is everything clear now? Okay, that's great. Okay. So when we have an array, we can get its size. How to do it? Array. Like this, array length. And this returns now us the integer, the length of the array. Why do we need this? Because we need to think as a machine. When we will work with our arrays, for example, in the loops, our computer doesn't know what the length this array has. So we know it is 3, but how to say it to our program? So we can use the array length, like this. And now let's perform some operations with our array. Let's create a loop which traverses through every element of array and prints it to the console. So we can use our traditional for loop for it. And we start from the 0, because the first index of the array is 0. It is very important. Then, what should be here? Who will tell me?
Array length.
Yes. So, why here we have less, not, for example, less and equals? Yes. What will be if we write like this?
It will
Yes.
So the last index will be like the quantity of elements, and it will be one more than the
Yes, yes, that's true. So we will have an exception. Our program will crash. We will have like out of boundaries exception because we will try to access to the fourth element, but we don't have 4 elements here. We have only really 3 elements. So that's why it's very important that we start from 0 and we go to the array length. So the last index of our array, it will be array length minus 1. So we created our loop. It will go through our array and check every element. And now we can, for example, print. So it will be like cout array, and we access to our index. Like this. And now it will print in the console every element of our array. Some questions maybe? Great, great. So arrays, they are very, very, very important. We use them all the time in programming, yes.
If we try to get out of an array, yeah, so for example, mesh of the
Mm-hmm.
so why don't we get a cabbage in the of the memory? So that's в шестнадцатиковій системі сміття має бути.
Так.
Так, а воно не буде, так?
Ну, виходить, що коли ви створюєте масив, ви виділяєте пам'ять для кожного елементу. Тобто, от ви берете і виділяєте якісь ячейки в пам'яті. До речі, вони не завжди йдуть один за одним. Тобто, типу, в пам'яті це не виглядає, що от наші ячейки в пам'яті для масива. Типу, ячейка може бути тут, 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 тут. І ти вже виділив ці ячейки. От, наприклад, коли ти просто пустий арей створюєш, таким чином. І у тебе вже є ці ячейки, але в них нічого немає. І потім ти вже можеш в них якесь значення записати, наприклад, отак от. Але у кожного елемента є індекс. Нульовий, перший, другий, третій. І коли ти намагаєшся доступитися до іншого індексу, ти просто не можеш цього зробити, бо його не існує.
Хіба масив не має записуватися підряд? Вони просто
Oh, до речі, Sergey, can you help us about the places in memory with array? Are they go one by one, or they can be allocated in different places in memory, but with they're like index?
They go one by one,
Uh-huh.
but just pointer to the base of the array is placed somewhere in
Mm-hmm.
memory.
Yeah, yeah.
Then they generally go by
Mm-hmm.
one by one. That's why it is so important to know data type 1 and index 2, and by that we could easily calculate the place of the needed elements. So this is the idea of array.
Yeah. So array is stored by one, but when we access the element, we use a pointer, and pointer can be anywhere in the memory.
The pointer was the first element.
Hmm?
The pointer was the first element.
Yeah. Okay, so is it an answer to your question? Okay, thank you. So let's go to another version of our loop. We can use the so-called for each loop when it has a more simple syntax, and we just can go through every element in array, and we use this loop when we don't need index. So here we used our index, but sometimes we don't need it. We just can go through every element and perform some operations with this array. So how to do it? We write like this. And here we also can like print element. So here, as you see, we don't have index, but we are going through every element in this array. This is another type of syntax and another loop. Yes, sure. So we have this array. We created this array. It has 3 elements. And now, after this, we are writing this loop. This is like a for loop, and it checks every element in the array, in this array. So this is a name of your array here. And this name we are writing for ourselves. So we are like creating this temporary variable which will hold the element. And here we print this element, which will be at the first time 1, then 2, then 3. So every iteration of this loop, it will change to next element, and until the elements are all proceed. Yeah? We will practice after the lecture. You will try to write these loops and so on. Questions? Everything is okay? Okay, that's nice. So, basically, I think that it's all. Let's summarize. What we learned today. First of all, that collections are very important. First collection that you are learning is arrays. Arrays, they exist to store some elements, some quantity of elements of the same type, like strings, integers, and so on. What can we do? We can create an array, we can create an empty array, and then, for example, how we do it, let's recall. This is our syntax, data type, name. Then we write new. This is a very important keyword. And the amount of our elements, 10. They are all nulls at this point. Null is nothing, and null is very dangerous. And now we can assign some value to our array. Like we are accessing by the index, which starts from 0, and we assign some value. Like this. Or we can make, for example, a loop. Let's make a loop. So we created a loop which will go through every element in this array, and we can assign a value. So we write name, then index. It will be I from the 0 to the last element. And we can make like, for example, also I. So we will assign every element a value from 0 to 9. So we filled our array now. And the last one is the enhanced loop. It looks like this. So this is our variable temporary, which we name as we want. This is the name of our array, and here we will go in every iteration. We will look at every element of this array. Yeah. So basically, I think that's all. Do you have some questions? That's good. So let's do some classwork. Try to declare arrays of different types, of integers, strings, booleans, and so on. Try to do it, first of all, try to do an empty array and fill it with the loop. And then try to make declaration when you assign elements during the declaration. It will be curly braces and your values. It's int so 1, 2, 3. And also practice with this type of loop. And also create the array out of boundaries exception. Look how it works. That's all.